think we're ready. Wonderful. So, hi everyone, and warm welcome to today's Java Bootcamp graduation. Welcome to those of you who are in the room. Also, welcome to those of you who are joining us digitally through YouTube. So we are a couple of extra people listening in through YouTube, which is wonderful. We are so happy to have everyone with us today because during the past 12 weeks, our amazing participants have done an amazing job and they have been on a true journey. It's been intense, probably a bit challenging as well, but hopefully also fun. And at SALT, we are truly impressed by the group's engagement, the development, and also the amazing teamwork. And today is all about celebration. We will celebrate your hard work today, but we will also get the chance to get a glimpse of what you have learned, and even better, we will get a glimpse of what you have managed to create and build, applying your newly acquired skills. My name is Julia. I'm working here at SALT as COO. And together with my colleagues here at SALT, we truly hope that you will enjoy this graduation just as much as we do. And this is the agenda for today. So when I'm done talking, I will hand over the word to Alec, our head teacher within Java. He will give you some context to the final project that the group has been working with. And thereafter, it's time to put the spotlights on the stars of today, the participants who will present their work and what they have created during the final project. Thereafter, we will take a short break. When we come back here again, the jury will provide their feedback, and we will also open up for a Q&A session. Before we head to the kitchen for some mingling and also giving you some diplomas. So that's also something that we're looking forward to. Great. So with that said, I will actually hand over the word to Alec.
Thank you. Hi, I am Alec, the Java responsible here at SALT, currently leading the Java full stack.
Don't forget the mic.
Is not this one? It's this one. So the JFS bootcamp. For the past 3 weeks, the JFS cohort team has been building something complex and demanding, but above all, based on a realistic premise. It's an MVP, or minimum viable product, for a core banking system. It's more than just a fictional app. This is a proof of concept, which is that they are a fully functional product team. Now, why is this so important for us, the final projects? The final project at SALT represents the bridge between the bootcamp and the real world. It's where our developers go from learning to building real products in a real work environment. Today, they'll show you what they built, but what matters more is how they built it, how they planned, designed, fixed bugs, solved conflicts, pun intended, Git and otherwise, how they handled feedback, adapted, and delivered as a team. And lastly, on a personal note, I would like to add that I'm not only very proud, but humbled by what these people are capable of, especially after such a short time. And I know it was hard at times, but you really made it seem effortless, which, says a lot. So thank you for making my job that much easier. So with that, I think we can just leave it to you.
You have the video.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we should play the video. Is it on this computer?
Yes, it is. It should be, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I should have introduced this. So when we started the project, we created this AI customer that placed an order for that core banking system, including the requirements and expectations. So let's just watch the video and see what they were presented with.
Hello everyone, my name is Ava and I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Nova Bank. I'm responsible for our overall product strategy, meaning how we build services that meet our customers' needs and position us as a leading player in the digital banking space. We're not just looking to digitize traditional banking, we want to redefine how people interact with their finance, and that's where you come in. As consultants through Solve, we've brought you in to deliver the first version of our core banking platform, the very heart of our product. This is a strategic business-critical initiative for us, and we are working towards a tight deadline. In only 3 weeks, we need our core banking platform to be ready for launch. When it comes to what this platform needs to deliver, we have 4 key priorities. First, it must be able to handle customer data securely and flexibly. We're dealing with sensitive personal and financial information. Trust and compliance are non-negotiable. Second, it must allow users to create and manage different types of accounts. From salary and savings accounts to future product types we haven't even launched yet. A third, it needs to support fast and secure transactions. Customers expect real-time movement of money with full transparency and reliability. And finally, the platform must be scalable, robust, and ready for future growth. What you build today needs to hold up as we grow, both in users and in complexity. In short, it needs to work, it needs to scale, and it needs to earn our customers' trust from day one. So, what do I expect from you as a team? First, a secure and stable API. This is the backbone of our entire platform, and without a reliable interface, nothing else can function. Security, performance, and clear documentation are key. Second, I expect an intuitive and responsive user experience. Whether it's an admin managing customer accounts or an end user viewing their balance, it needs to be clear, fast, and user-friendly across all devices. And lastly, I want to see a clear and sustainable system architecture. Not just something that works today, but something that's well-structured, maintainable, and built to evolve as we grow. In just 3 weeks, you'll present the results of your work. And as Chief Product Officer, I'll be looking closely at a few specific things. First, the business value. Have you really understood the purpose of this system? Does what you've built reflect the needs we're trying to solve? Second, the user experience. Is this a product our customers would easily understand and actually want to use? Simplicity, clarity, and usability matter. Third, I'll be looking at cross-team collaboration. Am I seeing one unified product, or does it feel like several disconnected modules? Our CTO will be focusing on the technical side. He will evaluate if the system is well-structured, clean, and modular, if the platform can handle future growth in users, complexity, and features, and last but not least, if the code base is something we can confidently build on going forward. Our CTO will be available for technical questions along the way, but you will also need to take ownership of your design decisions, technical direction, and communication. So build something you would trust and want to use yourself. I am looking forward to seeing the result. Good luck!
Wonderful. So this is what the group has been working on. And with that said, let's welcome the class with an applause.
Let's see. Yes, you can see. Yes. Hi, and welcome to this presentation and launch of the Nova Bank platform. It is great to see that all of you have come here today to take part in this moment together with us, including all of you who are watching this online. We are looking forward to presenting our work to you. Today we will present what we have accomplished, what tools we have used, our working process, what we have learned, as well as what you can expect from us in the future.
So this full stack project, we said 3 weeks, but in actual working days, it's only 12 working days. And first off now, in the beginning of this presentation, we will start off with the core specifications and describing our team structure. After that, we will show a demo of the app, and then we will head over to more details, such as the tech stack, like which tools we used, and also share our development journey. Finally, me, Samuel, and Daniel, we will also conclude our presentation and lead a Q&A. So let's start with the specifications, shall we?
Yes. Our first introduction to this project was the same video you just watched. In addition to this video, we also got a document containing more specific requirements. Samuel and I will now give you a brief summary of those requirements. We have separated them into 2 categories: functional requirements, what the app should do, and non-functional requirements, how the app should behave.
First, we will cover the functional requirements that are on this slide. And to keep it short, a summary, like what would you want to do with a bank app? You should be able to create users. Users should be able to create bank accounts. And with the bank accounts, you should be able to make transactions. Like without the transactions, you don't have a bank. Besides from that, we also implemented an admin panel where you can oversee the users and the transactions. And yeah, let's head over to the non-functional requirements.
Yes. So how should the app behave? The app should have secure and flexible handling of customer data, do fast and secure transactions with full transparency and reliability. The platform must be scalable, both architecture and user-wise, have a RESTful API that is secure and stable with open API documentation, together with intuitive and responsive user experience that is also user-friendly across all devices, as well as continuous integration deployment to the cloud. Now with the specifications covered, it's time to move on to roles and team structure. And soon after that, we will be shown a demo.
And with such a group, 11 people divided into 3 teams, you need a lot of structure, especially with a tight schedule. And we have all been working in the same mono repository. So in a multi-team project like this, it is necessary to delegate certain responsibilities, and that's why we had different lead roles.
Yeah, so for this purpose, we have formulated 5 lead roles. The project manager, responsible for ensuring inter-team communication, holding meetings, and reporting to the CTO. The product lead, responsible for product direction and forming a uniform vision for the future of the product. The tech lead, responsible for making technical decisions that are solid and reliable, as well as provide support where issues arise. The UI lead, responsible for aesthetic vision and ensuring a good user experience. A presentation lead was assigned later on during the project because of demands, who is responsible for presentation structure, unified style, and ensuring that a common theme is kept throughout the presentation. Roles have been rotating throughout the project in order for more of us to gain experience with different kinds of responsibilities.
So that was about lead roles, but as we mentioned, we also had 3 different teams. front-end, back-end, and database, and then the third team with DevOps. So if we should start with the front-end, their responsibility was to create what the user actually see and can interact with. Like when you open an app, what do you see? The second group were responsible for the backend and the database. And if you're not quite familiar with those words, you could make an analogy, say that the app is a restaurant, then the backend could be compared to the kitchen, like what happens behind the curtains. And the database could be like a storage room and recipe book. For the third team, we have the DevOps, and they were also responsible for creating the admin panel, where we can track user and their transactions and handle those things. Throughout the whole project, they were also responsible for the testing to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Additionally, they were also responsible for the CI/CD part that we will cover later on during the presentation. But now, let's head over to the demo of the app. So I welcome up Nikita to show us around.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for coming and taking an interest in our project. Right now, I'll be showing you the live version of our app. So if you enter the link, you'll be greeted with our index page. This is the landing page. And here you'll have some information such as, welcome to the future of finance. And you have the phone that shows the mobile view of the app. You also have a couple different buttons here. You have the loans button, the register button, and the sign in. And the register here button is the same as the register button at the top. So let's try to sign in and see how the bank looks. So let's do. You just enter your email. And you get a code sent to your email. So I'm going to go to my phone. And just input the code. This makes the login experience very secure and also very smooth, so you can be in just a couple seconds. So let's see. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds to get into the app. There we go. So once you're in, you can see our meticulously crafted sidebar, and you can see an overview of your accounts and your recent transactions. So you see all of your accounts here, but you also see the 3 most recent transactions. Up here at the top, you have a bell, which shows notifications in case the admins want to send something to you. So if there's something important, it will show up here. Now let's move on to the first page that I want to show you, the accounts page. This is similar to the dashboard in the fact that it's an overview of your accounts. And you can also click on the accounts to see specific information. So let's click on the personal one. And as you can see all of your transfers, both scheduled ones and past ones. And in here, you can click on the 3 dots and click on details to see everything about the transaction. You can see the status of it, you can see the notes and everything in between. You can also, if you would like to cancel the transaction, in case you don't want to do it anymore, Now let's move on to to creating an account. So it's also very seamless. You just press on the yellow button down here, and then you choose the account type that you want to create. So let's say you want to create a savings account. And in the future, we want to implement multiple currencies, but right now we only have Swedish crowns, so that's why we have that option over there. You click. It's done, and your account is opened. It's as seamless as that. Let's move on to the transactions page, where we have 2 very cool features that we are very proud of. So first of all, at the top, as you can see, it says AI search, and this is an actual AI that filters through all of your transactions, and it's a super cool feature, so I'll show you. For example, if you write rent, it will show you all of the transactions that match with that query, so you can see all of your rents. And you can even write more complex stuff. For example, show me all my subscriptions. And it will actually show up. So it's a very smart feature. Alongside that, we have AI in the categorization of the transactions. So as you can see, it's food here, and it's other. That's also AI that determines the category of the transactions. We also have manual filters over here where you can choose which account, and you can choose the category. So let's say food. You can see all of your food transactions. And you can filter by amount. So let's try 200 to, let's say, 300 crowns. Then we press search. And it will only show you transactions between 200 and 300 crowns. So it's very seamless. Let's move on over to the transfer page. This is where you can actually send money to other people. So let's check. Let's send some between our own accounts first. So we choose an account, and then we choose the account that we want to send to. Let's say we want to send 20 crowns today. And you can even have notes here. So you can, for example, write gift. Submit, and it will now show up in the transactions. And we can also make transactions for the future. So for example, let's do one for tomorrow. This was an empty account. There we go. Let's do 30. And you can set the transaction date for, let's say, 1st of July. We can name this one Big Gift, because it's 30 crowns. And there we go. So now in the transactions, you'll see that this one has already gone through, so it shows up there. And if you go to the individual account, you will see that it actually shows up as a future transaction. There we go. And you can cancel it, as I showed you previously, and see all the details for it. Now let's move on to the loans page. This is where you can apply for a loan. So here you get info about the loans and the interest rates and everything, and you have a button to apply for a loan approval. And yeah, down here are the interest rates. So let's apply for a loan. Let's see which account do we want. Let's choose the newly created account, and we want 2,000 crowns. Repayment term, you can choose whatever you want, and let's say I want a boat. And there you go. This will now be shown in the admin panel, so the admins can either approve or decline your loans. We also have two other tabs, the stocks and the pension ones. Those are upcoming features that we haven't implemented yet. Moving on to the settings page, you can see you have personal and general settings. So in the personal ones, you can, for example, change your email. Let's say we have a .com domain now instead. And you can either cancel or save, so let's save it. And it gets updated. And then in the general tab, you have all the notification settings where you can choose which notifications you want to get. But alongside that, we have a very cool feature, which is translation. So you can choose the Swedish language, and you will see the entire page turns Swedish. So the dashboard, the accounts page, everything is now in Swedish. It all gets translated. Lastly, let me show you the mobile view for everything. So if we go in here, as you can see, it's all very intuitive and very seamless as well. You can click on all the buttons here at the top or at the bottom, and it all looks great. You can scroll through, and it works the same as it does on the desktop app. Now, let's try and create an account. Say we are a new user. Let's try to register. Can the crowd give me a name for the new account? What do you guys want? Say a random name. Bosse. And a random last name. Bosseson. Perfect.
Really creative.
Yeah. I'll do Bosseson at, let's do gmail.com. Bosse.com. Yeah. And then you enter your personal number. So let's do fake one, and then phone number. This actually checks so that it's the right format. So let's write something that makes sense. There we go. And this has now been sent to the admin panel. So for that section, I welcome David, because he's going to show you how the admin panel looks.
What an awesome presentation, huh? All right. So from this registration form, I'm going to sign in as an admin. And just like Nikita did, I'm going to have to use my email and then also get a verification message with a code. So let me just grab that real quick. All right. And that brings us to the admin dashboard page. This is a really useful overview page where you get greeted with the bank's current accounts and their status. So right now we have 18 active accounts and we've deactivated 3 of them for various reasons. We also have a nice graph here with our different accounts. So we know how many personal or savings accounts we have, and we can track that continuously. We also have one chart here for our transactions. And it's really nifty because it shows off the volume and also the value of those transactions combined. But Nikita did an application to join our bank. So I'm going to head right in there now to accept it. And the name of the new user that we created, it was Bossesson. And here I can see all of the details and nothing wrong here. I want to approve that. Right. And I also saw something really funny, a weird name, this Golden Boy. I don't really know anyone called Golden Boy, so I'm going to investigate and look further into this. All right. So this email, goldenboy@crime.com.
But he's approved, right? Status is approved.
Someone has approved him, so I'm really suspicious. He must have been doing transactions in our banking system. Okay, so I want to head over to the Users tab to investigate further what this Golden Boy has done. Golden Boy at Crime. All right, he has 1 account, and I don't know how many zeros. That's a lot of money. And I'm going to check out this account number and actually filter it in our transactions page. All right, so here's the transactions page. You can see all of the transactions that's happened inside the bank. And yeah, their details. I have this nifty global filter up here that actually checks out every single column. So I can filter for dates, amounts, names, but in this case, we have Golden Boy's account number. So I'm going to check that out. All right. So there are 3 transactions here. And let's click one and just look at the details. Elite money transfer for 1337 reasons. That's a little weird. We have McDonald's. That's normal. That's a lot of money for McDonald's, maybe with his friends. And then there's payment for silent. Okay, so this is looking really suspicious right now. And we don't want these sort of actors in our bank, at least not for now. I'm going to go check out our loans page to see if we haven't given him a loan, because that's really risky. All right, we got Aki, we got Golden Boy, and it's pending for 42,000 kroners. Now, I'm really lucky that I came here in time, so I can reject this application and report this guy to my boss. And now, by the end, we've actually traveled through all of the pages in our application. And to talk about the background technology, I introduced to this stage Andreas and Elias, who will guide you through all of that. Just fix this one.
Thank you. Yeah, as David mentioned, we'll talk about the architecture and the tech stack of our project. So we'll start with the front end. For our core tools, we've used Vite for fast build times, smooth development, and enhancing our productivity while working on it. We've chosen React for its component-based architecture for scalable and dynamic user interfaces. We wrote it in TypeScript to provide strong typing and to make sure it's a maintainable code. TanStack, we've used both router and query to make sure we can efficiently navigate through our pages and to simplify our data fetching, caching, and synchronization. For our globalization, as Nikita showed, we can change our language, and we're using IAT Next for that to support our multiple languages.
And for our backend, we created a RESTful API using a lot of modern tools and frameworks, and they all have a base in Java and Spring Boot. And since security is our main priority, we created an OAuth 2 resource service where we used authorization tokens to ensure safety and role-based access through the whole application.
Yes, and then our deployment and our DevOps side. So this is where we are handling the tokens. So we're more specifically using JSON web tokens for our authorization to be secure between both the front end and the back end. To handle this, we're using Clerk for our user authentication and authorization. Then in our deployment, we're using GitHub Actions for our CI/CD to automate our build, test, and deployment process to ensure that our continuous integration goes smoothly. We're then deploying our app on the Google Cloud Platform to ensure that it's secure, scalable, and the cloud deployment is, yeah.
So why did we use this tech stack? We chose this because the requirement was to have a maintainable code base that's clean and easy to handle even for new developers. We also wanted to work efficiently and have scalability in mind so we can adapt to different markets in the future. And with the security and automated cloud deployment already in place, we are very confident that we can deliver with ease even in the future. So now that you have a short introduction to the tech stack, I'm going to leave it to Iqbal, Aki, and Baset, who's going to talk about how we use this inside the development, as well as some challenges we encountered during the process.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again. My name is Iqbal, and I was a part of the front-end team in this project. I will be walking you through our development process and our challenges we faced. The front-end team started with a brainstorming session to understand the user interface and user experience goals, and that translated into some design decisions that we used to create some prototypes. The prototypes were created using a tool called Figma. On the side, you can see our tool, a snapshot of our tool. There are some pages that we designed. This does not involve any code. This was under the first week before coding. We use these as our design references when we were implementing. After this, we started building our user interface using React as our main framework. And we had regular syncs with the backend team to maintain API availability, and with the CI/CD team to have consistency with their deployment processes. We had some challenges along the way, of course. One of the biggest ones was API dependencies, because at some times the backend was still under development, so we had to use mock data. We didn't have real data, and we had to create our components in a way that could switch to real data in the future. Another challenge that we had was maintaining consistency in regards to the styling and responsiveness of our components, of our user interface. To tackle that issue, we had a definition of a shared design system in our team, and we used the components wherever possible, so we didn't write the code over and over again, so we didn't have to manage the errors again. Overall, we believe as a front-end team, we delivered a functional and user-friendly banking application, and we are very grateful for this learning experience. It provided a great exposure with collaborative development and real-world problem solving, and we are very grateful. And I will be leaving the microphone to the backend team.
Thank you. Now it's time for the magicians, the backend, where the magic happens. Yes, the backend team began this project by defining the database, designing the database, and defining all the necessary entities. We created a schema illustrating the structure of the database and the relationship between all different entities. Our initial focus was on implementing the core endpoints required for the application to function properly. Once they were in place, we moved on to building additional endpoints for enhanced and nice-to-have features. Communication with the front-end team was throughout the development process, continuous throughout the development process, and we set up a Swagger documentation so that the front-end team could easily explore all the available endpoints and understand how to interact with them, and also note which inputs and responses to expect. Yes, and the toughest challenges in this project was the database setup and the transaction logic. Implementing the transaction required careful consideration of several factors to ensure that they work properly, especially with the scheduled transactions. And the second one was the database. While we used Supabase as in our production, our development environment relied on H2, which led to several issues and inconsistencies during the development time. Aside from these challenges, the collaboration within the backend team and the other team went smoothly and efficiently. And now it's time for CI/CD.
Thank you, Bassett. So CI/CD. I would like to start with the following. So first, what is it and what does it stand for? So CI/CD, of course, stands for continuous integration and continuous deployment. I know that doesn't say a lot, but we can use an example. So imagine you have a car factory assembling cars, right? So you would have different specialized teams working on their own parts separately, and still each part must click. Only after each detail and every single one of them has been taken care of, we will have a high-end, high-quality product. In our case, it was pretty much the same. So now imagine 11 developers creating a bank system from scratch. We needed to come up with a way, with a system, not to only collaborate with each other, but also collaborate with each other code-wise. We had to come up with a system that would allow us to be 11 individual developers that could still do their part and integrate to the main code in a smooth way. So for this, we came up with the branching system. I know this doesn't say a lot again, so I'll come up with a second example. So we have the car assembly point, right? This is our final product. We can only get here after a quality check. At this point, different parts of the factory will meet. Electrical team, mechanical team, interior team, and they will all have people working different things. Our structure is the same. So we have a main branch, which is the final product, a dev branch, which is a sub-branch, but stable branch, and then 3 main branches, front-end, back-end, and CI/CD, that of course will have different sub-branches and different people working with them. So to go a bit deeper into this, what does this mean? Main branch, this is the live version of the app. This is what's deployed, what's running for users, and basically what Nikita and David just showed. The dev branch is a stable version of the app. All completed work is ready for testing and is ready to go live, but it's still a controlled environment. It's not public to people. The front-end branch is where the front-end team builds and basically work on what the users will see and interact with. The backend branch is where the backend team works on server, database, core logic, data structures, and so on. CI/CD branch is used by the DevOps team to set up basically the deployment to make sure that all this code can be available to the users through a server. And then you could have feature branches, which are just temporary branches. They're not supposed to live for long. They're supposed to meet a specific need and then merge to a main branch at some point. I would love to say that this was a smooth and easy process. The reality is that it was not. However, we came up with certain code rules that would make all what I said work. So when it comes to the front-end and back-end branches, every time code is added here, we would run an automatic tool that is checking for code quality issues. This is called a linter in tech terms. And then tests will run automatically to make sure that the app still behaves correctly, or at least as correctly as it behaved the last time it worked. When it comes to the dev branch, before merging here, the app must build successfully, run without errors, nothing weird, and all code will integrate here. So we cannot have any crashes or conflicts at this point. And then the most important part is the main branch. This branch will check all the mentioned, all the above is the version we deploy, is basically the part that the users will see and use. So when the code enters here, the app will automatically build and be deployed to one of our servers on the Google Cloud platform. With this being said, I would like to welcome to the stage to Ludwig, who's going to talk about the lessons learned throughout the project. Thank you very much.
Yes, so some lessons learned. I'm going to present now some key points about what we have learned from this project. So beginning with lesson 1 regarding team and collaboration. We quickly realized the importance of clear team roles and their responsibilities. And communicating across teams is just as important as coding, especially when you're 11 people in one project. So a lot of this communication went through our daily meetings, where we communicated what we should be doing today, set up time estimations and stuff like that. And one big part also was the code reviews, which help us share knowledge between our code and also catch errors early. Moving on to lesson number 2 regarding project management. And here we learned how to prioritize features, since we got a lot of requirements in the beginning. We learned how to prioritize these features, and we divided up them into the core feature, which should be implemented first, and then moved on to the nice-to-have features. And since the requirements was very large, we needed to learn how to break this task down to smaller, more manageable tasks that we could easily do a time estimation on. Moving on to lesson number 3 regarding the technical skills. So we all know we created a full stack application using Spring Boot and React. And from here we learned relational databases, secure authentications, APIs from backend to frontend, Git workflow, solving merge conflicts, and a lot of things. But most importantly, writing clean and maintainable code, so every developer could know what each one has written. So to summarize the lessons learned and what we will bring to the future employer is one of the biggest is the confidence we gained by contributing to this project, not just as developers, but as effective team members as well. And also, beyond the technical skills, how critical and important teamwork actually is, and being able to adapt when changes comes. So overall, this project gave us a realistic experience of modern software development, from working in a team, solving real problems, having merge conflicts, and delivering a product under a deadline. Now I'm going to welcome Amanda to talk about the future of Nova Bank.
So, what is up next for Nova Bank and what does the future look like? We have already built a solid and scalable foundation, but as with many great products, there are always ways to improve and to expand. Starting with the behind the scenes future, we will start by improving our delivery pipeline so that Nova can roll out new features for our customers even faster and more securely. We will also expanding our administration side of the bank with stronger risk control and security to prevent fraud and illegal activities. This will make our bank more secure, a more secure place for our customers and their money. Moving on to the core banking upgrades that directly will impact our customers. We think that to broaden our market share, we are planning to launch the Nova Bank card so that our customers can access their funds in their everyday life. And this will help drive engagement with the bank since the customer will interact with their money and their systems more frequently. Okay. Sorry. Ursäkta för det. And connected to this Nova Bank card, we want to be able to opening up for joint accounts so that people in, for example, in a household can share account with their own bank accounts. And also pensions and stocks will not only make Nova Bank everyday banking app, but also for the long term. I think that was it. And I will hand over back to Samuel and Daniel. Thanks.
Okay. To summarize, we have made a full bank system from scratch that is secure, scalable, and user-friendly, built by us in our 3 agile teams. And that was all for our presentation.
So on this slide, we have all the developers involved in this project. And pretty soon we will take a 5-minute break before we head into Q&A. And in the meantime, please visit our app, either through typing this link into a browser or scanning the QR code to create a new user. And as a new user, of course, you won't have any money on the account, but it's possible to take a loan. That you can apply for a loan. And don't worry, it's 0%. You don't need to pay back anything. Just apply as a user and apply for a new loan. And yeah, we will now take a 5-minute break. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much. Before taking the break, I just want to say well done It was extremely inspiring and fun to listen in and to get to see what you have been working on. So we're taking a break before the jury will share feedback, and we will also open up for a Q&A session. So you mentioned 5 minutes. Maybe we should take it 10 minutes. Now it's well, let's be back here at 3 o'clock. Now it's 2:53. So let's
Give us 7 minutes.
7 minutes. I'm giving you 7 minutes. Let's be back here at 3 o'clock again. So, and I will definitely take a loan during the break.
Generöst av dig att bjuda på 2 minuter. Jag tänkte så här 5 över i alla fall, så 12 minuters break.
Started. And we will now move on to the jury and thereafter a Q&A session where anyone can ask more or less anything you want before we move to the kitchen to celebrate and mingle. And the goal and the purpose of having a jury is for us to provide you with a bit deeper feedback before opening up to questions. And we are 4 of us in the jury today, so let's start with just introducing ourselves quickly. I introduced myself earlier, but when it comes to the jury, I will represent Eva at Nova Bank. So in the jury, I will be Eva. And Damir, I will
I will represent myself. My name is Damir, and I'm working as Chief Commercial Officer at Salt. So I am responsible for the sales and marketing team. And we are doing our best to find assignments for all of the participants in our programs. Yes, and I'm looking forward to provide you with some feedback because this was a great presentation. I must say it now already. It was a good presentation, really good.
Hello all, I'm Pablo. I work as a lead engineer on MasterCard. And yeah, I'm here to ask some technology related questions and some other things. But so far, I'm very proud of all of you. I don't know all of you, but it seems that you put a lot of effort into this and you pour all your soul into this. And this is very good to see, actually.
My name is Henrik Sandström, and I'm working at Ericsson as a senior Java developer and architect. And I also was very impressed. You have achieved a lot in a little time. So, yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. And before we start with providing you with feedback, I would like all of you on stage so that we can talk directly to all of you and also make it easy to ask questions. And I will give one of these to you, and then I will keep one. And we will, is it okay if we start with you? Yep. In that case, I will hand over this to you, and feel free to provide any feedback or questions.
Should I stand up or does it matter?
You can do it. Yeah, you can sit down.
Easier, yeah. Okay. Well, as I said, in the beginning you said you've been working technically for 12 days. That's not a lot of time. A normal sprint is 3 weeks. So it's you achieved a lot, and you're so I'm impressed with the functionality you have achieved, and I guess you had a very good requirement specification as well when you started. Yeah. But the technical side is just one thing of working, as you all have talked a lot about how you interact and work together, which is crucial for the final result, and all the soft things, and also how to collaborate between different teams, and also the difference, the whole life cycle of the product development that's been kept together. So I have some questions later, but I also think it was a very clean interface. I'm not an aesthetic guy, but I like simplicity. It should look nice and be simple and not distracting. And so I like the web GUI from that perspective as well. I mean, in real life, you don't develop a product in 12 days. So I realized the scope. You had to do a lot of things. One of the things I've been thinking about is I don't know about your convictions, but having been working for code for a while, you have understood the importance of testing, and not only system testing, but also unit testing. Because someone else is going to go into your code, they might rewrite your code, and they want to make sure they don't break anything. So and also, so writing tests from the beginning is crucial for your own safety and for the safety of others. So I will ask questions a little bit on that, on testing after that. Another thing is, I think it's important with small loops, incremental development, not big chunks. And when you deploy things, you deploy small things because you will break things. And if you deliver too much, you will have to back out too much. So I will go over to my questions now then. Can you answer how have you been doing? I realize that for this short time, it's not easy to squeeze everything into once. But please comment a little bit on your testing.
When it comes to the front-end testing, we have used VTest as a testing platform. It has been quite useful since we were using Vit as a build tool. The reality is that we got a stronger structure probably after the first week of development. So we started writing tests that had to change a lot because the vision of the product was there, but not really the structure. So that's when it comes to front-end testing. Most of the tests in reality that we have done in terms of front-end are rendering tests and simple functionality tests. And that's when it comes to the front-end at the moment. In terms of back-end testing, Ludwig has worked mostly with it, so I'll pass the mic.
Yeah, similar here. In the beginning, we had a lot of time to write more tests, but since the scope and structure changed, so the test needed also, and we did not have enough time to be writing tests as delivering features on time.
Yeah.
So not so many backend tests.
Yeah. What about unit tests? They're supposed to be small and should be able to be kept within your module.
Yeah, we had that in the beginning as well, but not
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't want to be nasty. It's 12 days relevant, but I thought it was the purpose was just to stimulate thinking. But you already so I was interested in if you what would you do next if you had another sprint and another sprint, and have you thought about it?
But I think we all know how important testing is and
I
stuff.
can talk about. Yes. Since we have a lot of our functionality set pretty firmly right now, it would be way easier for us to just like rebuild our unit tests and have them stay that way. And like on deploy to the main branch, we already run all those testing commands and make sure everything, if there are tests, that they do run and notify us on GitHub.
Yeah.
I can actually
do
one last thing. Like when it comes to like the more like core reason, at least when it comes to the back end, why tests were not really like they would slow down our work too much. Like we would not have been able to deliver these products if we would have done that. It is due to there were a lot of changes in like what data we wanted to save in the back end. So a lot of parameters needed to change, which like when you write tests, you set predefined things that you want to test, and when the things you want to test change, you would need to rewrite the test, and that happened a lot because it was such a short time span. So that is why we focused on delivering the product first. But now that we have like the data we want to save is quite set and the relationships are set, we would be able to going forward write reliable tests that we wouldn't need to change really.
Yeah, I'm aware. I mean, this is obviously a first prototype, and sometimes unit testing and stuff like that. The code quality comes in a little bit lagging behind. So yeah, so I did not expect it from 12 days development. So I have another question, and then I will leave for Pablo here. Sorry. Did you use some kind of special way of working? I mean, we have models like Scrum, Kanban, Scrumban, and other things. Have you used some methodologies?
Yeah, I would say I don't know if we have like talked over the exact name, but like I would definitely say that it's like we've worked agile, like we have done sprints, I would say, but more like very short sprints, maybe 1-2 days or something like that. And we have used what would be similar to a Kanban board to put up different what would you say, tasks that need to be done. Anyone who wants to add to that?
You can mention we did actually also use normal Kanban boards such as Trello in different teams to keep track of what needed to be done and in what priority. We use those pretty heavily throughout both front end and back end. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Pablo.
Thank you very much. So, I have a couple of questions, and they are all like kind of for you to think about. So it's fine if you don't know the answer, or just say I don't know, or I'll have to think about it, and I'll just like read another one. One thing that I was actually thinking about is your branching strategy. So let's suppose the following scenario. You develop a new feature, and you push that to develop, then it gets pushed to main, and it's live now. But now you continue working, and you released on developed another feature, but it's not ready to be in prod because it's like still kind of being tested. But then one morning you receive a call from a customer, there is a bug, and now you have to fix the bug. Given that now on develop there is a change that's not intended to go into main, how would you push that new bug fix into main? How would you handle the branching strategy?
That's a good question. I think all of us are thinking about different individual strategies right now. Does anyone want to?
Don't be shy.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the correct question, but something that comes to mind is probably since dev has this feature that is already there, but it's not ready. I think what I would intuitively do is just to create a side branch, which is like a, let's say, a copy of dev, and just roll back dev from main, fix the bug, push back to main, and then merge the side branch back to dev. I would probably do something like that. And if there is a better way of doing it, I would love to hear it.
No, it's good. I'm happy with the answer, but it's more like just to think like when you pick up branching strategy, it's like a lot of companies do different ways of that. And it's not like your first task on a new company or assignment will be to set up a branching strategy, but just to be open-minded that all these cases can happen and like different companies will be in different ways. So just keep an eye on that because it's important because bugs happen and bug fixes are gonna like be rolled. So you could like just cherry pick the new commit into main, for example, and then like just cherry pick it into develop. So now main has the new change, develop has the new change, but main doesn't have the develop, for example. So there are a lot of ways to solve it. Just keep an open eye on it. Everything will go well. Regarding GCP, what kind of offering did you use there? Because you have like, I don't know, a lot of different ways to develop and deploy an app.
We're using I believe it's called Cloud Run, and it's a service they offer where we, via GitHub Action, after we've built our Docker image, they will then deploy that image on their servers for us, and that's what we're running on the website.
Amazing. Let's say that you want to release a feature for a given set of customers. Do you think you can do that with like Cloud Run?
I don't see why not. Instinctively, I would assign that customer account with some sort of feature flag. And then, yeah, that would just be living on the same image.
Amazing. Cool. Regarding the scheduled transactions, what verifications do you do and how do you check that it's time to trigger them?
I'll give that to the backend team.
Thank you. Yeah, the backend system is like it goes through all the scheduled transaction in a certain at a certain point. We have set it at 9 o'clock for now. Each day at 9 o'clock, it goes through all the scheduled transaction and it checks the dates if the date matches, and checks all other things like if the account is available or not, if it's active, if the money is in the balance or not, and do all the checks. And if everything passes, it creates a new transaction. So
Amazing. What was the hardest part with the transactions? You mentioned before that like it was hard to do like transactions. So what was one of the biggest pain points, and would you do like something with the experience that you have now to like avoid that?
The thing is that when we started to implement in the transaction, it wasn't fully clear that which type of transaction we want to make. If you want to make it the internal transaction inside our bank, or to different banks, or the bank Giro or Plus Giro. So it was really hard to address which type of transaction we made. So we and the front end team, we talked about it, and we found a solution that they have to send certain ways to us, which made it possible for us to make the transaction.
All right. I think I'm gonna ask one last question. It's about security. So you're using JSON Web Tokens. Where is the JSON Web Token stored?
We are using Clerk as the issuer for the web token, and then we send it as in the header as an authorization, like the bearer token.
And where is like a store for the customer? Is it stored in a cookie? Is it stored in local storage?
It's in the local storage, right? Yeah, it's on the front. Yeah, we store it in the local storage.
And do you validate that the token is actually a valid token signature every time there is a request?
Yeah, we check that in the backend. So when we get a request, we set up with Spring security filters that checks the token, or like a JVT authenticator converter, I think it's called.
Perfect. Yeah, I guess I'm done. Very well done job, both in the presentation, in the app development, and answering the questions. I hope I wasn't that mean on you guys.
Thank you. So I'll take over. And now my name is Eva. And during the presentation, I wasn't looking for the technical parts. Instead, I was focusing on business value, user experience, and collaboration. And I would definitely say that you deliver on my expectations on within all three areas. I was very impressed by your work, and also by the way that you present your work. It was easy for me as a client to follow and to understand how your work is related to our business needs as a bank of the future. And even though you delivered with high quality within all of these three areas, I would say that one area I was even a bit surprised on how well you delivered, and you definitely delivered above my expectation, and that's the user experience. It was truly impressive. The login is very smooth. The overall dashboard is easy to follow with a clear sidebar, an overview, and also these dots where I can click to get more details. It's easy to make transactions, and one thing that I didn't even know that I needed, but the AI search. I will go straight to my own bank and ask for this function. So well done. The collaboration is strong. We've said it before, but you achieved a lot in just a few days. And this is not possible at all if you don't collaborate well within the team. And Some highlights for me is that you defined clear roles and responsibilities. You are rotating within the teams, which makes it easier to understand each other's visions, strengths, also challenges along the way. You mentioned that you're doing brainstorming, including all the different teams within all different steps. And I would say that all of these different things are key in order to deliver a product or a platform which feels like one product. Because that was something as a client that I was a bit concerned about when giving you this assignment. Will it be one platform or will it be three different functionalities or three different platforms that you deliver, since you are three different teams? But you are delivering as one, and that's truly impressive. And the business value is also great. I really like that you end the presentation by proposing next steps, and you're also including safety, the speed, and also the user experience when recommending the next steps, the future functionalities to develop. Nova Bank card, for example. And I also, from a business perspective, really appreciate the safety that's that you have with you as a red thread throughout the project. I would not want this golden boy within my bank. I was trying to find more constructive feedback, try to find things that you've missed, and maybe things that you could improve. But to be totally honest, I'm super impressed, and I only have great things to say about your work, your collaboration, the business mindset, and also the way that you planned and conducted the presentation. So I only have one question, and thereafter I will hand over to. Oh, sorry.
This is your 12 minutes, right? Okay.
Eva likes to talk.
Yes.
Don't blame
I
me.
think you like to talk as well.
So, one question back to this user experience. How did you identify what functionalities you wanted to include in order to ensure user experience? Did you put yourself into the situation of being a potential client, or how did you?
Should I mean, a lot of the UX stuff that we did was based on intuition. Like, we thought about, well, where will I look on the page? Like, for example, let me show you one thing that we are very proud of. So, for example, our login page, there's a fade towards the sign-in button to make you, see it first. And we thought about a lot of that stuff, like what is intuitive, what is easy to see, what is easy to understand. And we also looked at other banks to see how do they do their UX. So it was both perspective and looking at other banks as well.
I actually have something to add as well. I think we really used our numbers to an advantage here. We did have like we said, we had a product lead that's and UI lead that were involved in that. But not only that, but we had a lot of short but very productive meetings where we would come with ideas and we would all test the app and such, and that together with looking at other apps, we added a lot of ideas, and then the product lead mostly, I would say, needed to prioritizing what to do and what not to do.
Could I add something? Yeah. Something interesting that also talks about functionality, user experience, and so is that towards the end line of the project, Nikita was giving the final touch to the sidebar, which is where the buttons live, you know, what you see in terms of services, where you click and so on. And we had a few ideas going on of which buttons should go first, if there were so many icons or not on the sidebar. So at some point, Nikita made a decision, we agreed on it, and we went with that. And then the day after, we did a test run for the app, just to make sure that everything behaved well. But it was with the new sidebar. So I realized I did like 5 minutes of testing and everything, and then I was like, I don't even have to think of what I'm clicking or where to go. Like after I was done with the testing, I was like, yes, the sidebar works because I don't even have to think about where to go. So that was very, very nice.
Yeah, we went through a lot of iterations for a lot of stuff. So for example, the sidebar as you see it now, we thought about having all the icons in one row, and then there was too many icons. So we thought about having a wheel that spins, like, oh, you can press to the next page. It wasn't super intuitive, so we landed on just, this drop-down where you can see the services and your pages, which we thought was very intuitive.
Great. Thanks for that answer. And with that said, I will hand over to you, Damir.
Thank you so much. Let's see, I'm having a couple of notes, but okay. I will try to focus on your presentation mostly, since we have heard a lot about the technical parts. So first of all, if we start up with the presentation itself, it's extremely professional. I really like the layout of the presentation. It was really good. And then when it comes to your presentations, I'm so impressed by all of you, well prepared. It was so clear from the very first word that you, Samuel and Daniel, that you started up. It was a clear overview of the project. It's easy to follow. It was easy for me that is not so technical skill. I mean, it's easy to just be involved in the presentation. So it was very good. I also like the user experience. I mean, your app looks better than my own bank. I really liked it. It was, I mean, I wrote like simple look, all of the details that Julia also mentioned. I mean, with the 3 buttons and everything, just you have been thinking of many details, and that's, for me, that's very impressive within this short time. I also like the AI search. It was very smart feature. Also the language, that you could switch language, amazing. I was also, I mean, like the transactions. I didn't even think of, I mean, that you guys will be, I mean, that you will come so far in the project. So it was impressive that you have been thinking of a lot of things. Okay, but I think I will stop there, and I will just, I mean, this type of, normally when we're doing final projects, we're doing them with the smaller teams and more groups, like divided in 3 or 4 groups. And even then, it could be sometimes challenging to collaborate and, I mean, to have a structure. It sounds like you have been working with a lot of things, and Iqbal, you mentioned like challenges around the APIs and also the database. But I would like to ask you guys, I mean, you're a huge group. What's been most challenging collaborating and I mean, getting the project moving in the right direction?
I could start off. I think the first week that was hard because like we had like most of the stuff we had done before we had done in smaller teams, and it was not really the same kind of projects either. So there were a lot of new things, like the people stepping into roles. That was very new. We had not been prepared for that earlier. But it was a good kind of new, but it becomes a bit messy, and you need to like figure out where does my responsibilities end, where do they begin. But I feel like it was a very productive first week, though a bit messy. So the communication there, I would say, was an issue. I don't know if there's anything we could have changed, but I feel like we have learned a lot from that first week.
Do you give some?
Yeah.
So yeah, the first week, as Daniel mentioned, it was a little bit chaotic at times, especially like the first day and Git conflicts and yeah, all of that. One thing that worked to our advantage, I would say, because as Daniel mentioned, we have either been working individually or like in groups of 3 or 4, and we have done mob programming, so it's like one at a time. And now 11 people, but I feel that we are quite close as a group. Like if it would be a bigger class, maybe we wouldn't know each other better, so like we can cooperate maybe a little bit better because of that.
Great.
And that's why maybe it took just 1 week to get these things into place and not 2 or 3.
Sounds like you're ready for an assignment that where you can contribute at some of our clients. One last thing. I want you to be proud. I've been involved in many final projects and graduations. I will say this was the best presentation I have ever seen. Really good job. Really good job. And the last thing, I'm glad that you are really good on developing and doing this type of projects, because you're not as good at the ping pong table as you are in developing. So really good job, okay? Thank you so much, and good job.
Thank you.
And with that said, let's open up for questions from the rest of the group here. If anyone has a question, big or small, Alec, you have a question?
Really? I thought Lava would take it.
He's next.
Right, now I'm pretty biased. I shouldn't be saying how impressed and how amazing this was. You said it for me. I'm just going to jump straight into my question. And there's not a lot of questions I could ask you because I was there with you the whole process. But one thing that I'm curious about that you could answer for me. If you had a new order or a new order for the same product, let's say a new batch of money, you have a month or 2 more, and you have free reign to decide what you're going to focus on. It's not necessarily new features, so we're not bringing in new features. You can decide what you're going to focus on. So let's say 1 per team. I would like to hear what's the first thing and maybe the second thing that you would do going forward.
So if we had more time and would continue with this project, yeah. So I was part of the backend team. Maybe they wouldn't like me to say this thing, but one thing, one thing that we actually had in process is this currency exchange, that you could like transfer money from Swedish crowns on one account and then to like euros, for example. So a lot of those things are already in place. So that's one thing.
And not necessarily features. You know, if you have something else in mind, feel free to share.
When it comes to the CI/CD part, I was part of that team. So one of the things that came across our development process towards the end part, so we didn't have time to do, is that we would have loved to have a parallel deployment in a staging environment, because now the only deployment we have, it will deploy directly to production. So we noticed towards the end of the project that while we were all working locally with the project, there was not many issues, but the moment that we tried to hit production, then the issues showed up, of course, and we would have solved that if we could have had maybe from the first week, 2 deployments, 1 for production and 1 for staging, just to have things under control, even though if it's not access to all users, it's still a real environment and not a local environment. And yes, I would also say testing, but I don't know if you want to.
I was going to say testing. I mean, testing. Right?
Yeah, just build stronger tests, absolutely.
That makes me very happy. Fronted.
You want to pass it along? Cool.
We can try to maybe increase the consistency between the components, some of them, the pages and some components, especially maybe changing the sidebar a little bit, maybe trying with a new header instead on the top to just see different design decisions, how it would impact our app. Fixing a little bit of stuff on the mobile view could be another thing we could work on. Do you guys have anything else you would like to add?
Brought up the sidebar. We wouldn't work on that again.
Yeah, that was a little bit challenging. So tweaking a little bit of stuff to check how it would improve the app. Do you have something or no? Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, great app, first of all. My question is, how did you have any kind of process to making sure production and the production environment or the deployed version wasn't totally broken? Did you like regularly check it for issues, or how did you go about that?
So we at the CI/CD team, we only allowed ourselves to merge from dev into main, and thus we could quality control before we actually deploy there. So that's how we managed that.
Cool, thanks.
Love it.
So you said that you worked in, was it 3 teams that you worked in? Did you, when you were working in these 3 teams, were you doing mob programming, or were you all 3 working in individual branches and then...
Sorry, did you say remote?
No, mob programming.
No, we were all working on our individual features mostly, and then we would merge those features into our respective group branch, and then those would get merged into dev, and that would go up to main.
All right, and then a follow-up question, maybe more for the backend. Did you use any kind of design patterns where you were developing your features? Because sooner or later you have to work on top of each other's code, and it becomes maybe a bit hard to maybe understand what your friend has done, maybe, or maintain it. If you did have it or no, or was it like going straight forward and that wasn't a problem that occurred?
Yeah, we had some structure, but there was not. We did not plan it from the beginning. Like we have to go to it singleton or other pattern, design patterns. But MVC is something, not model view, but we have some structure. Like we divide in controllers, services, repositories, and modules. And the thing is that we divided in, like, if it's admin controller, all the things that admin can do is in one class. So we divided by classes.
Thank you.
No, just I am not a full stack developer. I'm working mostly with pure Java programming. But I was you mentioned MVC. I guess the model is in the back end, or do you have logic in the front end as well?
No, the model is in the back end.
Yeah, so there's no logic in the front end. Okay, yeah. Then I was thinking, you said, I mean, the thing about mob programming, pair programming, and so individual programming, that's always a debate. How it should work, it depends on if you're new or experienced and stuff like that. But if you work individually, you will have to rely, I mean, if you do pair programming and mob programming, reviewing is done as part of the way of working. But if you work individually, you need to. So how did you do the process doing individual code submissions? How did you review each other's code? How did that work? So you made sure you were aligned.
I can answer I would say to a great degree, reviewing was deprioritized. If we would review every single change done everywhere, we would, like I said, with testing, we would not have gotten to this point. Like we did review, I would say, maybe not in a formal sense over like GitHub, but we did usually try to interact with important things, and usually bugs and stuff would be detected by the CI/CD team before getting deployed as well. But I would say that was deprioritized for time's sake, so to speak. Maybe.
Yeah, just to add to that, in terms of like the technical part of it, the CI/CD team set it up the branching system that you could only add contributions to front end and back end and CI/CD branches, but you couldn't push directly to dev or main, for example. So the code can only integrate there through pull requests. So, and you couldn't, of course, approve the pull request yourself. As Daniel mentioned, the type of reviews we did were not thoroughly, and sometimes the pull requests got big. So the system was there, but it could have been a bit more efficient.
Yeah, 12 days development, so it shouldn't take.
So do we have any more questions, or is everything crystal clear? Yes. Okay. So once again, thanks a lot for a great presentation. Thanks also to the jury for your engagement. And with this said, we will, the group who are in this room will head to the kitchen for some mingling, and we will also in, well, about 20-25 minutes hand out diplomas. But this means that the live streaming will now end. So thanks a lot also to those of you who joined us through the live streaming. And last time I gave you 7 minutes of a break, which was not enough. So feel free, take your